Yes, I think we are live now. A very good afternoon and welcome to all the students who have joined us today for this session. I would like to, yes, yes, sorry, there was an echo. I think there were two voices. I was on two devices, so now I've switched off one of my device. Yes, and today we are going to have two webinars for our CA students. First one will be on English language communication skills. Um, the ICAI has noted that while CA students and CA professionals are very proficient in their subject matter of maybe tax or accounting or auditing or financial management, some of them have sometimes been found lacking in the skill of English language speaking. Today, in a globalized world and in a world where the packaging or the marketing is equally or sometimes even more important than the substance of the professional, it is very important that every professional has that basic English language skill, and not even basic. Someone like a CA should probably have something at an advanced level. Let us face it, we are all students of the law. We are reading acts and rules and notifications coming every day. So we need to know how to interpret those words in the right manner, how each word can have multiple meanings. So to give an example, which is a quite a humorous take actually, just last week, all the GST tax, not all, but many taxpayers of under the GST regime had got an automated SMS from the GSTN saying that they have been defaulted into the new tax regime. A student of English would tell you that the word defaulted has a completely different meaning from the word default. Default means automatically, while as defaulted is a negative connotation that you have done something wrong. So taking that, so this the GSTN themselves did this big mistake, and there was a huge. I received many calls from my clients, sir. Where have you done a default? Have you done default? I said this is not that default. This is some other default. So this the real life example of just last 1 week is pertinent to note that how English language skills are very important for every professional. So, with that context, today we have a very knowledgeable faculty with us, Miss Mancy Shah. She has been a motivational speaker and has been training for the last 9 years. She has trained professionals from various spectrums of different fields. She has specialized in business management and communication skills, and she's a very articulate speaker. So I think today she's going to cover some very important topics for us on communication skills, which will brush up some of our English knowledge as well as how to get better at speaking English. So with that, I hand over the session to our faculty for the day, Miss Mancy Shah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaurav. That was really kind of you to introduce me. And I would like to take this opportunity if I could do of some help to the CAs. I'm sure y'all are much better CAs and you have so much of knowledge in accountancy than me. But today I am going to touch on a total different subject. It has nothing to do with CA, but still it is attached to CA as well. Not only CAs, but all professionals. So, a very good welcome to all our participants, all of them who are watching our show. And before I start, I would just like to show you a short clip, okay? And then I would like to begin my session. So, before that, let's have a quick look at this video, what I would like to show you.
Can you please play it, Mancy? I think share screen or something has to be done. You need to share your screen again. Can you do that?
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, I can see it now.
Now, can you see?
Yes, I have just added it to the stream. Just, I think it's loading.
Can you see it now?
Yes, but it's loading. The window is loading. So just give me.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
I think there is some issue right now. It is. I can just see a black screen. I can't see the video per se.
Okay, one second,
So
one second. Let me try
yeah,
it again. One second,
yeah.
one second. One second. One second.
Sure. No, I can just see a black screen. The video is not visible. Can we
One
try
second.
without that?
Yeah, one second. Now I'm doing it again.
Okay.
For the last time, let me just try.
Sure, sure, sure.
Now, can you see?
Yes. Now it is
Yes?
visible. You can play it. Yes, you can play it now. Yes.
Yes. Okay, okay, okay. So, before we start, just I'm sure all of us here have seen the movie Sholay, right? Most of us must have seen here. Maybe a few who haven't. So, for the next 10 minutes, I just want you to delete this memory, only this part, whether you have seen this movie, and watch this video as if you're watching it for the very first time. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, now you have seen this clip for only 6 seconds. Yes? What can you tell about this person? You haven't even seen his face, mind. You haven't seen the face, you have only seen his body below the waist level. You have just seen him walking a few steps. Do you think he's a very good personality whom you would like to go to talk to? No, right? I don't think so. Let's see ahead. Still, you haven't seen his face. You have only heard his voice. Does his voice sound very sweet, very humble, very polite? What do you think? What kind of a person is he? I feel that he is very commanding, okay, very authoritative. You cannot say he's a leader. He is a leader, but he is more like a dictator here. Okay, and there is a lot of difference between a leader and a dictator. Okay, so such people, I'm sure none of us would like to even go around or even talk to, or try to build relationship. Definitely not, right? So back to our today's session, which is about communication skill. A lot of people, they think that communication is all about what I speak. Okay, the words what I speak is more important. But here is the place where we make a mistake. Okay, let me tell you. Okay, let me start with the session, the and get to you. One second. Let me start. Let me show you my PPT. So you will get a clearer picture of what I am telling you all about. Why is it not coming? Why is it not showing?
Mansi, try sharing your screen again. Share screen again.
Yeah. Okay, so today I'm going to talk more about good communication skills. Now, obviously, today lot of our business is being done over the phone or it is email. So this your everybody is some or the other way connected to communication. Yes or no? Today, in every step, not only at your workplace but at home, with your relationship, with your personal life, your professional life, you require good communication skills if you want to grow, if you want to improve. Yes, but if you think good communication is enough, then what do you think is effective communication skills? Yes, my dear friends, this is what I want to tell you. Effective communication skills come into picture when you actually want your work to be get done. Okay, you want to achieve your goal. Now today, if suppose I want to deliver a parcel to a place in Ponda. Okay. Now I have an employee. If I just tell him that go to Ponda and deliver this. So this poor guy, he goes all the way to Ponda, okay, but he does not know where to deliver it. So is my goal achieved? Is was the communication result oriented? No, right? So your is the fault where we make usually. It is a fault at my point as well as at his end also. Okay, I did not communicate effectively, nor did he ask me any question, and this is where most of the times we go wrong. We feel that our expectations are not fulfilled, the things are not going the way I wanted, I'm not getting to achieve my goals. What is wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you, my dear friends. It's the way we communicate. If you are really goal oriented, or you want to achieve what you want, what your dream is, what is there in your mind, you got to first communicate it very very effectively. There are a lot of points to be considered, I'll tell you ahead. Now let me give you this wonderful quotation, that is, if you have brilliant ideas in your mind, you might be a mastermind, you might have wonderful ideas, very innovative ideas, okay, but if you cannot put it across, if you cannot communicate it to people, you cannot influence people, then I'm sorry, those ideas cannot get you anywhere, cannot get you anywhere. So my dear friends, most important is the way you communicate. The entire thing makes a difference. Okay, now today we have communication, common ways to communicate: spoken, we have written, we have visuals, but this is where we miss out. That's the body language, which plays a very important role. Of course, not when you're over the phone or email, but here a lot of other things also make a difference, which I will tell you ahead. Okay, now what is communication? Now, what according to you is this picture about? What do you think it looks like? Yes, it's a handshake. Anybody would tell me that it's a handshake. What will it communicate? Yeah, any layman would say, what does it communicate? Just a handshake. No, my dear friends, this is a handshake which communicates trust, which communicates confidence. Now, today you are going to do business, okay, with so many people. You're going to have so many clients. I'm sure you might not know all of them. Yes or no? Some of them you might be meeting them for the first time. So, how do you know whether you can do business with them? Yes or no? So, if this is the first step, when you shake hand, if it's a very feeble handshake, you would know that you cannot trust this person a lot. But if it's a firm one, yes, it means he's a man of words. If he has said it, he will do it. Okay, so a handshake also speaks a lot. It shows trust, confidence. Okay, now what is this? Anybody would say it's a thumbs up, yes, but we see a lot of things with this thumbs up. We see all the best, we say yes, you can do it, we can motivate just within thumbs up. That's it. That's it, what is required. And you see, if you just do this for your friend, it might work wonders. And that friend might be so thankful to you that yes, your motivation, just one thumbs up of yours has made me win the game. Can you see the difference with in your relationship just with a thumbs up? Why not? If only this much can work wonders, why not can we do it? Okay. Of course, we need communication for spectrum of reasons, right from presentation skills to negotiations, business writing, influencing today's world, very, very important. Cross culture, win-win conversations, selling skills, very, very, very important. Teamwork, extremely important. Today, you cannot achieve the entire, or you cannot win the battle all alone. You need an army, you need a team of people who are going to work for you, with you. Okay, it is no more the bosses give orders and the employees. No, it is a time when we together achieve, the bosses as well as the employees. So it's a teamwork. So it is how you communicate, how you keep them connected, makes a whole lot of a difference. Okay, types of communication. We have one way wherein the boss speaks and the employee listens. Two way where you have discussions. One to many is like, you're doing public speaking, which is at times also very, very important. Today, I'll tell you that the elections which are being won, it's only because of this communication, the public speaking skills. You need to master them and you have to win hearts this way. Yes. Okay. Now, this is a very important thing what I would like to share, that communication, it's not what you say, but a lot how you say. How you say is very, very, very important. Okay, you might be an excellent CA, you might have the complete knowledge, but the way you put it up with your clients makes a whole lot of a difference, my dear friends. Okay, your voice makes a difference, your eyes. Many of us think, is it? Yes, eyes speak a lot for you, a lot for you. Okay, your facial expressions, your body language, very, very, very important. See the graph, if you can see on the screen, that the words are having a weightage of only 7%, as in what you are speaking, the words is having only 7% weightage, whereas the tone you use, the way you put it up, your body language, especially when okay, because of this pandemic we are not being able to do it face to face, but before and surely after in a later period, whenever you talk to somebody, please note your body language as well. Okay, most of us ignored this part, but let me tell you, it is carrying 58 percentage of your communication. That means it is very important. Don't you think so, my dear friends? Yes. So before we get on to the other part, okay, I would like to tell you a few fundamentals, right? Like, for example, you have rules for every game. Yes or no? You have rules, right from cricket to hockey to kabaddi, you have rules. So before playing any game, okay, you would like to definitely know and learn the rules, right? If you want to be a master, you need to learn, you need to by heart the rules from A to Z. Okay, same way in communication, we have certain rules, certain fundamentals to follow. I'm not telling you to follow these fundamentals to the T, definitely not. Okay, but I want you to learn it first. Like, for example, who's the god of cricket? Who's the god of cricket? Definitely it is Sachin Tendulkar, right? He has also learned the rules of cricket. He has mastered it. And then he has modified it the way he wants it. Okay. Now, it's not always that you have to hold the bat in this particular way. No. You can have your own innovative ideas. Maybe you would be even better. Yes, so same way in communication, we have a particular rules, regulations, some fundamentals to be learnt, to be mastered, and then you have the liberty to break it, to modify it the way you want it, to have your own style. Yes, each one has their own way of presenting themselves. Remember, when you are speaking, let me tell you that when you go for an interview, when do you think the the jury decides whether they want to appoint you or no? When do you think? It is just the first 4 seconds they see you, the way you come in the room, the way you walk, the way you sit, and the way you speak. Just the first word, and that's it. They have made their decisions. They have made the decision. The HR has already made up his mind whether he or she wants to employ you or no. Okay, so remember that there are no two opportunities to make your first impression. Yes, my dear friend, so please play it very tactfully. Now let me begin with the first fundamental of communication. Again, I'm telling you not to follow it to the T, but you got to know it first. Okay, you got to learn it, you got to master it, and then you can have your own set of innovations in that. Okay, the first being your posture. Your posture, the way you stand, the way you walk, the way you sit, has to be really upright. You might not have a very fantastic height like Amitabh Bachchan, but yes, you make use of your height to the fullest. However short you are, no drooping shoulders, keep them upright, straight, look up. Don't look down searching for 10 rupees on the floor. Okay? Look up, keep your chin up, keep your shoulders straight, okay, and your legs rooted. It should be firm on the floor. You should not, when you're talking to somebody, you cannot be just swaying all that, or you're balancing on one foot. Many of us do that. At times when they're talking, they'll be on the left foot, and after another 5 minutes they'll shift to the right foot, they're balanced. No, you cannot be doing that. you got to you got to be having your firm, your your uh, your foot root. One second. Okay, then comes to the gestures. Okay, your gestures is what all about. It's about the hand movement. Okay, I'll have to show you this, how it happens. Yeah, now the hand movement. Okay, so it's not that when you're talking over the phone it's okay, but when you're talking to a person, your hands have to complement to what you're speaking. Okay, to grab the attention of the audience. Today nobody wants to listen to you. Why should they listen to you? Yes or no? But to grab the attention of the audience, it may be one, or it may be 10 audience or 100 audience, but you need to put in the right gesture. Okay, it is your hand movement. Mostly it is better to have it clasped like this. Okay, just keep it, or else you can have it at times right hand, the left hand, when you're talking to someone. If it is one to one, don't have it much of the gestures, just one two are okay. Okay, or you can just give a thumbs up or a pat on the back. All these are very soft gestures, but at the same time they are very positive. Okay, it will help you to build a very positive relationship with your clients, with your colleagues, whoever. Okay, so gestures are very very important. Just imagine if somebody had to just talk to you putting his hands in the pocket, how insulting it is. It is not at all right in today's professional world. Okay, you cannot, it is kind of an showing attitude. It will be taken as that. See, right now everybody is there just to judge you. Everybody is waiting, so don't give them a wrong impression. Maybe you are a gem of a person, but the way you portray yourself, the way you are giving an image, so it might be wrong. So don't keep your hands in the pocket, no hands behind, no hands touching again and again your tie or your, don't touch, keep combing your hair with the hands. Or some women, they might keep touching their dupattas. No, no, it's a big no, no. Okay, so don't keep your hands in the pocket, no touching your tie, or no combing your hair again. Don't do all this. Okay, so it's kind of unprofessional. So keep your hands open. The best thing is, when you're talking to a little bigger group, the best thing is to keep your hands open, which shows that there is nothing for you to hide. You are very open, that you anybody can trust you. Okay, so hands open show a trustworthiness. Okay, and keep your hands clasped, or just this keeping one hand on and off is also all right. Okay, now the third thing coming up is the eye contact. Now, eye contact is also very important. Today we are so busy in our life. For example, let me tell you that I have a kid. Okay, and he keeps coming running to me, mama, mama, please tell me what is this, what is this, please read this. And I am like, okay, okay, just wait, I'm busy doing my work, I'm talking to him, but at the same time I'm doing my work, and most important, that I'm not looking at him. Okay, this is the time that person feels very neglected. Okay, feels that, okay, nobody has got time for me, this is just an example about a kid. But at times, when we are also talking in the professional world, at times we don't even realize we are busy writing, or we are busy on our cell phones, or we are busy reading something, and at the same time we're talking to a person, which is it is not at all ethical. If you are talking to somebody, it is your duty, it is awful to you, that you should look at that person at least once. I'm not telling you to stare at that person, keep continuously looking, but yes, you got to at least have once an eye contact. If it is a bigger crowd, definitely you cannot lose the eye contact with your audience, because quickly your audience will get distracted, they'll feel ignored. Okay, you might even have people walking out. Yes, okay, because you are busy looking somewhere else. Where you got to look? At the ceiling, at the floor, at the walls around? No, you got to look at the audience, to whom you're talking to whom you're communicating, whom you want to communicate with, whom you want to influence. You got to look at that person. Your eye contact, because your eyes are speaking a lot. I can trust your eyes than your words. It's that important. You realize? So it is very, very important to maintain eye contact even while you're talking, or even while you're listening. Okay, don't think that if you are listening, you can you don't need to maintain eye contact. No, that'll come later in my ppt, I will tell you. And finally, the very, very, very most important thing is your voice. Your voice has to be, first of all, it has to be audible. Okay, maybe you're telling something wonderful, maybe you're extremely knowledgeable, maybe you're expressing or you're informing something which is very important, but if you're not audible to your audience, it is all of no use. Okay, so first of all, you got to be audible. Secondly, you got to maintain your voice modulation, as in, if it is something which is a very important, which is very urgently you want to get it done, then you need to raise your voice. You need to raise your voice, and you need to be very firm when you're giving that part of command, or you're giving those information. Okay, something, if you want, if it's a request, maybe you can come down. Okay, you have to be little polite, be more polite. Okay, and supposing if it's something exciting, you can be very fast in telling the exciting part of it. But if it is something sad, then you might lower your volume. Okay, so voice modulation here plays a very, very, very important role, especially in today's world, wherein we aren't being meeting people much. It's all moreover on the the webinars, and it's over the telephones. Most of the business nowadays is being done on the telephone, right? So here your voice modulation plays a very important role. See, posture, gesture, eye contact will play an important role when you are face to face to that person. Okay, all these things will be noted at that time, right from the way you sit, stand, walk, your posture. Okay, keep it straight, keep your shoulders straight, no drooping shoulders, it has to be straight. The way you sit also has to be not only for a not only to be give a good impression, but also for your health, right? A bad posture, you'll have a lot of issues with your spinal cord. So give a good posture, give good gestures, keep your grab your audience attention, keep it holding by giving good gestures. Okay, eye contact, do not miss out on that. It's very important, plays a very important role. You might not realize it now, but after this session, do try to practicing it, do try practicing it. Whom you're talking to, make it a point that you look at that person and ask that person also to look at you. You'll see the difference, I'm telling you this. Okay, and voice modulation, yes, definitely. Now when you're doing maximum of your getting your maximum of your jobs done over the mobile phones and your landlines, yes, voice modulation plays a whole lot of a difference. Okay, the way you put it up will make a difference. Okay, let's get ahead. Yes, now the thing is that we think that communication again is only speaking. Okay, we think only speaking. I told you it's not only the words. I told you it is body language, your posture, gesture, all that I told you. Right now comes the next part, that is the listening skills. Okay, I'll tell you that if speaking is silver, then listening is gold. Yes, everybody knows that, right? So the listening skills are equally important. Now in today's world, okay, you got to be a very smart listener, a very active listener. You cannot just be like, in the how we had good old days in the college, that people would keep speaking, I mean the lecturer would keep speaking, and the students would just be there physically, but mentally they are already in some movie theater, watching some nice movie or planning their evening in some nice restaurant and all that. But not anymore. You got to be an active listener as well. Okay, so for that I have put up a small formula. Okay, you, if you want, you can pen it down. Now this is the NNEEAR formula. It is called as the NNEEAR formula, wherein the first N stands for, okay, the first N stands for name. Okay, most importantly, we miss this out. Okay, whenever we're talking to a person, you ought to remember that person's name. Okay, now for example, if I'm speaking to Mr. Gaurav, I cannot just say, can you do this, or I cannot just address to him like, keep saying you, or you there, you there, can you listen to me? No, you cannot do that. Okay, there is some kind of respect which you have to deliver if you expect the same. Okay, so name, remembering names is a very, very, very important quality, not only in communication, but if you can inculcate it in your life, it will be wonderful. Okay, I have done that, definitely. I love to do it, do that, and I have seen how it makes a difference. When an old friend of mine or an old teacher of mine, they come to me and they say, hello Mansi, how are you? I feel so obliged. I feel so great that they still remember my name. You know, the best sound for anybody in the world is the sound of their name. So let's not forget names or not mispronounce it also. Okay, very important. So name. Secondly is the nod. Okay, when you're speaking, or when you're listening, at least you can give a nod, right? You can at least give a nod saying that yes, I'm listening to you, that I'm actively listening. Okay, not just give a nod, but to show that you're listening to that person. Your expressions, you know, they could be your facial expressions. They now we have expressional words as well, like wow, great, awesome, too good, or else oh my god, no way. These are all expressional words which you can say as a listener. If it is something good, you can say, wow, wonderful, awesome. If it is something sad, oh no, you know, you can give these kind of word expression so that the person who's speaking to you, the communicator, will feel, yes, you know, that the listener is actually listening to me. He'll feel really good about it. Anybody, now today, if you come to me and if I listen to you actively, definitely you would love to talk to me, right? Because you feel that yes, at least somebody is listening to me. In today's world, nobody has the time to listen to your good old stories. Yeah, but if you find somebody actively listening, please appreciate. Okay, eye contact. Again, I told you, as a listener, if you are the listener and somebody else is talking to you, you also need to maintain eye contact with them. Okay, you also got to look. I'm again repeating, I'm not telling you to stare at that person, but at least maintain on and off eye contact. Asking questions, very very important. As I told you in the beginning of the session that I had to deliver a parcel in Ponda, so I sent an employee of mine to Ponda, but he I forgot to tell him the address, as well as he forgot to ask me the address. So I am not the only person to be blamed. In today's world, communication is two-way. Speaker as well as listener, both are important. Both have to be actively involved, then only goals can be achieved, it can be result oriented. Okay, so I told you that he also could have asked, ma'am, where is the address, whom should I meet there, is there any contact number, what is the time that I need to go there, what is the means mode of transport I need to use while going there. Yes or no? There are ample of questions which will follow with only one statement of mine saying that you have to go and deliver this to Ponda. Okay, so you're again to show that now with this, I know that he is not an active listener, he is not proactive at all. Yes or no? So, such kind of employees are not welcomed in any of the firms in today's world, especially. Okay, and finally, there is something called as repeating. It is always better, you know, that if you can repeat it, it will get very well registered in your mind. That or else it is one way of showing that you are listening. Okay, if somebody said that I had pizzas for dinner, oh, you had pizza for dinner, that's wonderful, I love pizzas. Okay, so that's how it goes. Okay, so when you say this, that means the speaker feels, okay, you know, this listener is really actively listening and just not there for the sake, you know, is really interested in what I'm saying. Okay, and it feels great. And you see, if you follow these fundamentals, you know, few speaking skills and few listening skills you follow, you'll see how wonders it works. You'll notice the difference. Definitely, you just give it a try once and you will notice wonders. You know, when you meet somebody, you know, why don't you pleasantly welcome that person, you know, that even, you know, yes, very good morning, how are you, how was your day, you know, how was your day yesterday, what did you do. You could just generally talk like this builds relationships. Okay, maybe you could give a compliment, maybe You could just talk about like the work they have done, some appreciation. So this all will keep adding to your relationship, not only personally but professionally as well. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, now this is what I want you to. The most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't being said. What isn't being said. See, I'm emphasizing. Okay, what isn't being said. Voice modulation. Here, I did it. Okay, so what isn't being said? How do you know that? How do you know what isn't being said? What will you have to observe for this? Yes, you will have to observe the body language. You'll have to observe the eyes. You'll have to observe the voice modulation. Okay? All these things comes into the picture now. Okay? Now, so action, when actions speak louder than words, this is what happens. Okay? Now, what can you see? This man who's standing with his hands on his hips. Yes, what do you think he's trying to communicate? What can you feel? Don't forget he has a smile on his face. Okay, let me tell you, this man is trying to show that he's extremely dynamic, that he is ready for any sort of challenge. You can what come what may, I will always face the challenges with a broad smile. This is what the attitude should be today. Okay, then aggressive and dynamic. This is what it says. Okay, hands on the hip, aggressive, dynamic. What do you think is this? Nail biting. It is anxiety, insecurity. You're not sure about what is going to happen next. Yes? What is this? Again and again, touching the nose. Okay, sometimes I can understand, something is fiddling your nose, all that. But when you're in public, when you're in a professional meeting, you need to avoid a few gestures, a few actions what you do. Okay, like this one, that is touching or rubbing the nose again and again. Okay, in the professional world, it means that you're hiding something or you are lying also, so better be careful. I'm sure. Okay, now what is this? Hands claps behind the back. It shows anger, it shows frustration. So be careful when next time when you're talking to a person, you cannot be keeping your hands clasped behind. Okay, it is it is preferred that you keep your hands clasped or you keep your hands open, both hands open. Okay, and remember that any gestures you are giving, it has to be above your waist level. No gestures below your waist level are accepted or like. Okay, so keep your hands up, keep more importantly, keep it open. Okay, it shows that you are a very open minded person, that you have nothing to hide and people can trust you. Okay, so hands claps behind, again frustration, anger. Okay, your arms crossed across the chest. At times, we do this when we are talking to a person. We don't even realize that we are doing this, but people take it in a wrong sense. Okay, I'm sure. Okay, if it's very cold, we do this. That's a different thing. But few things you need to keep in mind while you are in public. Okay, especially while you are in a public in a professional meeting. Clasped hands across the chest shows this defensiveness. Okay, it shows defensiveness, that you are not a open minded person, as if you don't listen, as if you don't care what the speaker wants to tell you. Okay, so Be careful while you make certain gestures in public. Okay, rubbing your eyes, it symbolizes disbelief or doubt. Okay, it symbolizes it. Okay, so these are the few examples which I wanted to show you, that when you do these certain actions, there are a lot more. Okay, but due to constraint of time, I'm giving you these. So the thing is that these are the few actions which you need to avoid, especially when you're in public, when you're in a professional meeting, because this can give a whole lot of a different image about you. So please be careful. Please give a very pleasant impression about you. Okay, next I would like to cover a little bit of different. This is also equally important, your telephone etiquette. Okay, so in India especially, we have totally forgotten this, especially after the cell phones have come in and they are so easily available. You know, you can easily contact anybody. We have completely forgotten our telephone etiquette. Okay, so quickly let me brush through this. Okay, and then we move on to our next subtopic. Okay, so a few common mistakes what we which we need to avoid is having irritating ringtones. Okay, I'm sure you like a lot of songs in your original language, or it could be spiritual songs. Keep it to yourself in your room or in your earphones. Okay, it cannot be your ringtones. People are getting irritated with it, you know. And especially when you are talking to a client and suddenly your phone rings with some fancy song of Katrina Kaif. Can you imagine what a mm, situation it can be, how embarrassing it could be. So please avoid keeping irritating ringtones. Okay, don't keep the ringing volume also too loud. Okay, I would prefer a very soft ringtone with vibrations, so it can you for you to know it. No more trunk calls. Be careful while you're talking over the phone. Keep your volume very low. Earlier we had the trunk calls wherein we had to shout our heart out to so that the other person on the other end could hear you. But right now, with these microphones installed in your handset, even a whisper is much clearer. Okay, so please be careful while you're speaking, especially when you are sharing. If you're traveling in a car with like more people, or if you are traveling in a bus or a public transport, please be careful when you're talking. You cannot be shouting on top of your voice, and make sure that the entire bus knows the story about you. Okay, no concern for safety. Please be careful while you're using it. When you're driving, try to avoid it. Try avoid messaging or speaking. Your safety is more important. Then yeah, very very important is 5 missed calls in 60 seconds. This happens only in India. Okay, that if a person hasn't answered, keep calling, keep calling, keep calling. No, you cannot. If the person hasn't answered for the first or maximum for the second time, it clearly means either the person is extremely busy or does not want to answer your call. Okay, it's a clear picture. So don't keep calling. Wait for that person to call for at least 2 hours. Okay, if it's extremely urgent, call again, or wait for one day at least. If that person doesn't call, then you call after 24 hours. Okay, now with special, now this is something this is also something which we need to avoid, is like when you're in a meeting or a conference. Okay, and your phone rings, and you take the phone, you answer the call, and you say that I cannot talk now, I'm in a meeting, I'll call you later. A big no, you cannot do this. Okay, either you switch off your phone or you keep it on silent. Please keep a message. Now we have so many options that you can leave a voice message for all your callers that you will call later. Yes or no? So please avoid doing this. Calling after business hours is very, very common in India. We did not realize earlier, it was, it was very good that it was only 9 to 5 and people are in the office, you would call them. But now, because of this mobile phone coming in, you know people have forgotten the business hours. They just call at any time, even on a holiday, on when the employee or your business colleagues are on vacation, anywhere. Okay, so this few things which we need to keep in mind as telephone etiquette. Okay, quickly let me brush through what we just did is the 8 tips to improve your communication skill. Okay, now the first one, watch your body language. Very, very, very important. I told you, the way you even stand, the way you sit, the way you walk, people are judging you every minute. Don't give them a wrong impression about yourself. Please watch out your body language in public. Okay, at home you might just be relaxed, you might sit the way you want, but not in public. Yes. Second is, get rid of unnecessary conversation fillers. Yes, very true. If you have noticed, when any of these teams, the cricket teams, they win the match, and after that, the media is taking the interview. Most of the cricketers will be like, "Yes, it was a nice match, but uh, 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 the the credit goes to these are unnecessary fillers which you need to avoid. You need to first think what you want to speak. You need to frame it, the right type of words you need to use. Okay, frame your sentence and then you got to speak. Okay, so get rid of unnecessary conversation fillers. Next, have a short script for talks or other occasion, as in sometimes you meet that person for a first time, you just can't be like strangers. Today's world, somebody will call you arrogant, so you need to have a pleasing personality. You need to have a small smile on your face. Yes, what would you speak if that person came up to you? So here is a formula that is like Ford, Ford. You can talk on any of the four topics. Like first is your friends or family. If you have somebody in common, you can talk about that. O is for occupation, what you do, your work related, your profession or your business or what work you do. R is your recreation. Sometimes we might have common hobbies like music. Okay, so where do you go for music concert? All that you can speak about. Or D is for your dreams, your destinations. You can talk about all that. So you need to keep this handy. Okay, when you meet a person, if you want that person to you if you want to build relationship with, you got to keep this in mind. Okay, now next is ask questions, repeat the other person. Okay, very, very, very important. Even if the one who's speaking is not very clear, you have to ask questions and make sure you get the clear picture and avoid maximum misunderstanding, misconceptions. Okay, if you feel, repeat. That's what we do, right? When we go to a restaurant, what do? We do is we place the order, and at the end of the order we ask the waiter to repeat it so that there are no confusions whatsoever. Yes. Okay, so put away distractions. Okay, when you're talking to a person, make sure that you look at that person and talk to that person. Tailor your message according to the audience. Here you have to be very, very careful to whom you're speaking to and accordingly tailor your message. Okay, if I'm talking to a lower level than my designation, I need to tailor it like that so that they can understand it. Otherwise it's all in vain, right? So you need to tailor your message. If you are talking to a higher level management, you got to be very, very cautious. You got to use the appropriate words when you're talking to them. So you have to be very careful. Okay, so tailor your message. Then be specific yet brief. Okay, be specific, be brief yet specific. So nobody here wants to know your good old stories. Whatever you want to tell, be make it brief, keep it short, but at the same time, okay, tell the entire Okay, listen and really listen. When you are playing the role of a listener, make sure that you really listen, that you are an active listener by following the NEEAR formula. Okay, which will not only make the speaker feel good that you're listening, but it will also help you, you know, in your communication as well, future communication. Okay, finally, the barriers according to me in communication, firstly is the noise. Okay, so get rid of noise. Wherein there is a lot of noise around, you cannot communicate. Secondly, get rid of assumptions and misconceptions from your mind. Please be very clear when you are communicating, whether you are the speaker or the listener. You can ask questions, you can get it repeated, all sorts of things, but try to avoid assumptions and misconceptions. Language differences, you know, that is they're going to be there in India. Okay, we have various languages, so that difference is going to be there. We would try to, you know, bridge the gap, maybe by learning the language, or you know, you can have a mutual understanding on which language you would prefer speaking to. Poor listening skills, that is very 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 common in today's world, wherein people don't have time. They're so busy with their world that, you know, once the speaker is speaking, okay, when somebody, so they have already, you know, assumed what a speaker wants to say, and they're like, okay, 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 I understood, you don't go on with it. You know, we don't have the time, we don't have the patience. So poor listening skills also plays a very important role, you know, in being the barrier. Use of jargons, please do not use very very difficult words. Okay, but yes, appropriate words at times is required. Distractions, again I told you, keep away distractions. When you're talking to a person, see that you give the entire attention to that person. If you want to achieve something, if you want to give a good impression, this is all what you need to know. In a in a nutshell, I've given you about communication. Yes, right from your fundamentals to speaking, to fundamentals to listening, your body language, how to maintain your body language, your telephone etiquette, okay, and the barriers which you need to avoid. Yes, I have on my behalf tried to cover as much as I could, okay, within this time limit given to me. Now quickly I want to touch on another subtopic, okay, which is very 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 much related as well as required, okay, in today's world. That is vocabulary. You know, I'll tell you that, okay, before we move on, let me just end this, that I would like to say that, vocabulary, yes, in today's world, one second. Yeah, in today's world, that English, you know, is a very easy language. Anybody can speak that, but the quality you speak, the words you use, the vocabulary you use, the timing, how appropriate is the word, makes a whole lot of a difference. Okay, so see that you use the right word at the right time, with, you know, the quality of the words. And very 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 important is the pronunciation of the word. You know, the pronunciation in English is very important. You know, that will give you a classification whether, you know, you are a very sophisticated English speaker. Okay, so quickly I have listed down a few words which are very pronounced wrong. Okay, which I would like to just throw light on a few words. There are, of course, there are lot many, but again, because constraint of time, I have put pen down only 20 of them, which, you know, immediately which we can put to practice. Yes, so let's have a quick look at these words. Okay, the first one being third day of the week. You know, usually we say Wednesday, but actually it is Wednesday. Okay, the D is silent here. Wednesday. Okay, now this is What you would think it is? Yes, debris, right? But it is not so. It is debris. Debris. Okay. Now this one, usually it is we hear it as in like for a new celebrity or a heroine or an actor who's doing his first movie or his or her first movie, we say it is their debut. Do we say debut? It's debut. Debut. What is it? It is debut. Let me show you how you would pronounce it. It is debut. 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 Okay. Okay. This one, elite. No, elite. Elite. Okay. Not elite, but elite. Okay. The next one, very important, pronunciation. Do we say pronunciation? No, it is pronunciation. Pronunciation. Okay. Please be very careful when you say this. Pronunciation have to be very, very, very clear, very perfect. Okay. You cannot mispronounce the words. What do you say? Suit? No, it's a suite. It's a suite. It's a room. It's a exclusive room in the resort. You can say that I stayed in the suite number 403 in the Taj Palace. Okay, so it's a suite. Yes, this one very common, mischievous. Yes, my son is very mischievous. We say this, right? But it is mischievous. 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 You can pen it down if you're required to. Wow, I love this, Often is often pronounced as often, but it is not often. Okay? Okay? Often is pronounced as often, very often, but it is not often. It is often. What is it? It is often. Often. The T is silent here. Okay? It is often. Please be careful while you pronounce the word. Gauge? Is this gauge? No, it is gauge. Gauge. Okay, this is how you will pronounce it. Gauge. The soup was very sour. No, it was very sour. Okay? Sour, not sour. Sour. Can you please pass me the bowl? Yes, correct. Not bowl. Not bowl, but bowl. Okay, not bowl, but bowl. Can you please pass me the bowl? Okay. I am very scared of this disease which is spreading in Goa rapidly. I'm very scared. Which is this disease? Dengue. That's what we hear, right? And that's how we also register in our mind. But it is dengue. Okay, it is dengue. It's not dengue, but it is dengue. Okay, now I won a free coupon to the Disneyland. No, it's coupon. Coupon. Almond? Did you eat your almond? No, the L is silent. It is almond. Almond. It is almond, not almond. Okay, it's almond. These are a very few commonly, which we make a mistake, which we can rectify it immediately in our day-to-day life, but there are a lot more. Vegetable, will you please go and buy some vegetable? No. The second E, there are three E's. Can you see? So the second E is silent here. Vegetable, vegetable, vegetable. Okay. Now the most interesting one. Most of us, okay, while reading or while speaking, we say that I brought chikus, bananas, papayas, watermelon, etc. from the market, etc. is so common. Okay, but it is not so. It is not at all so. It is not etc. but it is etc. etc. It is etc. not etc. but etc. Okay, please be very very careful. See, now that you know, you can start using it. You can start getting into this habit of learning the new words, at the same time rectifying the pronunciations of the ones which you have been using every day and making a mistake. Okay, so this is a very 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 important habit. It is one of the highly effective habits of successful people, is add vocabulary to your language. Very important. I have a friend of mine who has got these targets, has made actually a timetable by, per day these many words, per week particular set of words. At the end of the month, I must know these many words. And you won't believe, even at your end plan he has got, and he has put it right in front of his on the front wall, where he sleeps. So the minute he gets up, he can see it right in front of him, that yes, this is my goal, what I have to achieve. If you want to be successful, if you want to achieve something, you got to really work hard in this direction. Okay, so etc. Next is jewelry. Okay, women in India love to wear a lot of jewelry. It's not so, it's jewelry, jewelry, jewelry. Very important. We all say, call the plumber, call the plumber. If the taps are leaking, call the plumber. No. Again, we are making a mistake here. It is plumber, plumber, plumber. The B is silent. Usually, if there is a B after an M, it is silent. Like climb. We don't say climb. We say climb. CLIM. We stop there and the B is silent. Tomb, comb. Okay, so again the B is silent here. So please remember, it is plumber, plumber. B is silent. Debt, yes, this all of you all must be knowing as CAs. So it is debt. Okay, not debt, debt, debtors, debt. Okay, now this one, my favorite. Okay, dessert, dessert, and desert. Desert and dessert, two difference. Here we are stressing on the double S, dessert, which you have to pronounce at double Z. Okay, so dessert is like, my favorite dessert is gulab jamun with ice cream. So dessert, what's there, what's the special, what's special for today's dessert? Okay, and whereas the other one is the dessert. Okay, the other one is the desert. Okay, a lot of deserts in Dubai, you can say. So dessert and desert, a lot of difference. So be careful next time when you pronounce these words. These are a few examples which I've given you, which you can inculcate. I want you to get into this habit of not only learning new words but also rectify the ones which you are mispronouncing it. Okay, so take a note on your pronunciations, your vocabulary, reading. Okay, do a lot of reading. Talk to people. When you are going to meet people, talk to new people, listen to them. because when you only keep speaking, you're speaking what you already know. But when you are listening, you get to listen to something new as well. Yes, that's adding to your knowledge. So please, okay, so yeah, that's what I would like to say. And finally, I would just like to say a few words that
Yeah, Mansi, your last 2 minutes were not audible. There was some issue.
yeah, one second, I'm getting back.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So I just want to I just would like to end my session on a very important note, that the entire thing depends on what I believe is this quote. Okay, that if you think you can't, okay, then you can't, you will not be able to, there are hundreds of excuses you can give if you don't want to do something. But if you want to, okay, you can definitely do it. If you can't, then you definitely can't. But if you can, you definitely can do it. So it is entirely your decision. Can you see my PPT?
No, no, Mansi. I think you have to share the screen again. Share screen again, and then.
1 minute. Yes. Okay, so my final quote, what I would like to give is that, is if you think you can't, you can't. But if you think you can, you definitely can do it. Okay, so the so I can and I can't, both are in your hands. You have the choice. The choice is yours. The ball is in your court. It is you who has to decide. It is you who has to get up and take action. Okay, put your car in the fifth gear and go fast, make history. Okay, and I wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors, and may you succeed in whatever you do. But remember that the choice is yours. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. This is Mansi Shah. I have been training for the last 9 years, and I'm just doing this because it's my passion. I like to meet people, because of this profession of mine. I've got to meet so many different people, and I've got to learn from so many different people. That is why I am into this profession. And not only that I am here to teach you something, or I am here to train you, or this is just what I have accumulated. This is the knowledge that I've accumulated from the different people I meet. So I would like to end my session with this. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Mr. Gaurav Kenkre, and all the very best to all the participants here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Mancy, for a very elaborate discussion. From the PPT and from your presentation, I can surely guess that you would have loved to have a physical conference with our students rather than a virtual thing where you could actually interact with them and show much more of your skills and your knowledge to them. I hope that
Yes,
this COVID pandemic ends soon, and then we can possibly have something in a physical environment also, so that our students benefit even more from your knowledge and expertise.
wonderful, wonderful. Nothing like that. Nothing better than that. Nothing better. I would love to do. In fact, I believe in learning by doing. I strongly believe that. So looking forward to that, looking
Sure.
forward.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Mancy.
Most
Now we
welcome.
will move to the next session, which will be given by me, of course. Uh, I would like to bid goodbye to our faculty now. Thank you. And the next session is on ethics. Let me just share the screen. Yes, I think the PPT is visible now. So this is a very important topic for CAs again. Um, in the past few years, we are looking at a very challenging period for CAs across the country and possibly across the world. We have various engagements, auditing engagements, etc., which we need to do, and we are seeing that some of the bad decisions made many years ago, or maybe even recently, are now finally coming and are hitting the businesses now. So, because of this, many auditors are not comfortable signing off, or they are finding some issues, so they are resigning from their job as well. On the other hand, the government has tightened its screws. They have started authorities like the National Financial Reporting Authority, which will basically oversee the work which CAs have done in certain particular assignments. So in this context, it is very important that uh, we as CAs perform our duties at the highest ethical and moral standard. And the only way to ensure that this message creeps into our blood and into our life very deeply is by starting young, or starting at the lowest level, or at the beginners level, that is at the CA students level. If we as CA students at the right time are infused with this uh, kind of principles, then I'm very, very confident that as CAs we will be able to live up to the expectations of the society, the government, the tax authorities, and of course our clients all together. So for this, we have kept this important session of ethics. So just to start off with, what does ethics mean? It actually means just your moral values and accountability to your own self. Although we have a proper ethics code of ethics from my ICAI, on a larger scale, I would say it is largely being accountable only to yourself. You as a person should be comfortable with your actions, your deeds, your speech, your documents which you are signing off. If you are comfortable, if you can go to bed at night thinking that yes, I have done the right thing, then you have followed the ethics to the T. So to put it in a put to quote a very famous American author, Aldo Leopold, he has said that ethical behavior is that which you're doing is doing the right thing when no one else is watching, even when doing the wrong thing is legal. So this is very profound in two contexts. One is, of course, you need to realize that if your ethics will be the only thing standing with you when you are doing something, when even no one else is watching, that is, you know that you are not going to get caught, you know that you doing this can be okay, that it is legal to do something, but somewhere something in your mind or your soul or your heart, whatever you want to call it, stops you from doing that. That is where your ethics or your morals kick in. And ethics can be considered to be the cost of independence. So we call ourselves the independent auditors. If you check any audit report, we claim to be independent auditors of a particular taxpayer. So if we have earned we to justify this right of calling ourselves independent, following ethics and eternal vigilance will have to be our duty. So with every right comes a corresponding duty, and this is our duty to be ethical, to have eternal vigilance in order to claim the right of being an independent auditor. Mary Gentile is another author who has talked about four common ethical dilemmas, which I would like to go through here. The first ethical dilemma is trust versus loyalty. So, this is a slightly complex thing to understand. Let me give you an example to elaborate on this. When you are doing the audit of a client, you are who are you serving? Are you serving the client, or are you serving the income tax department by saying that yes, this person has paid his income tax correctly? Who are you serving? So where do your loyalties lie? Or on the other hand, can we say that the department has trusted you to do something? They have said that yes, once a CA certifies and gives a audit report, we will not question that person overtly. Will not go too much into depth. So we are satisfied that maybe they do a test check that out of 100 people, if who have got that audit done, we may pick up only one or two, and the remaining 98 we trust that the CA has done his job properly. On the other hand, the CA may not realize that this weight of this trust is on his shoulders. He may think that he is only doing his duty towards his client. And his duty towards his client would be how to minimize the trouble for him, or maybe how to minimize his taxes, minimize his client's compliances. And unfortunately, he may go off track and do things which are either illegal or immoral or unethical while satisfying this loyalty factor to his client. So this is where the first dilemma comes, that anytime you feel that you are providing a long rope to your client, you are allowing him to get away with something which ordinarily you would not have allowed some people to get away with. You have to question yourself that who are you serving? Are you serving only the client, only the department, or is it a golden balance, a golden mean between both these two activities? So, this is the first kind of ethical dilemma which can face a person. The second is, of course, individual versus community. So, this I can, from a professional CA professional example, I can maybe try to give an example is that the CA Institute publishes recommended minimum scale of fees which we should charge to for certain professional engagements. They are only recommendatory, they are not mandatory. However, they are some kind of a benchmark for us to follow. So now if all the CAs in a particular state or in a city or in a region are more or less following that recommendatory scale, and just one CA decides that okay, I will cut below all of them, I'll quote something very low, and I will get an assignment. That is where this individual versus community dilemma comes, that you may end up getting an individual benefit, but your community at large will suffer, because today it is you, tomorrow some other person will do it, and then eventually the market price for that service will come down for the entire community as such. And then this is just a never ending game. Today you charge 1 rupee less, someone else comes and charges another 1 rupee below you, and so on and so forth. And then eventually you will reach a situation where your quality has severely been affected because of the low pricing which you have given. So this is a second kind of a dilemma which we may face. Third, again, short term versus long term. So when many times we are tempted to take the shorter, more easier route to getting some compliances done, but we oversee that the long term ramifications of this can be huge. So this has to be kept in mind, that whenever you are guiding your CA, your clients, you need to give them an idea that that this practice what we are adopting is good, and it is for the long term. There may be some short term pain, but in the long term he will be well protected from all kinds of liabilities. The last one, of course, is justice versus mercy. This is very very relevant in today's context. We all know that our clients are suffering because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some particular industries are suffering much more than the other, and a human touch comes into play, and we sometimes feel that okay, we should be a bit more merciful, we should be a bit more accommodating to certain taxpayers, certain clients in certain assignments, and there we may lose sight of what is the right thing and what is something which we are doing to help out our clients. So we need to again find a fine balance here, that how much do we help them, whereas how much do we ensure that justice is being done. While getting through the ethical dilemmas, we may have some rationalizations like everybody else is doing it, so it must be okay. and if we don't do it, somebody else will do it. So these are the common tropes which we use to justify our actions, which we know within ourselves we know that the actions are not correct, but just to justify them we try to use these kind of examples. I think the correct process here would be to first of all think that what happens if everyone does this, what happens to the customer trust, and in our case the trust which the government and the regulatory bodies have placed on us. So to give an example, in one of the GST Council meetings, there was a proposal from certain sections of the council that the GST audit itself has to be done away with, because they felt that there was not much being served by this kind of a exercise. So this is a classic example of how customer trust, not customer trust, but the trust of the regulatory bodies was falling in a particular profession. So we need to realize that our actions have an equal and opposite reaction and a serious consequence on the society at large. And also the other question we need to ask is that, okay, you are doing something right now which you are not comfortable with, but what if everybody knew that you are doing this? How would you feel? Would you be comfortable going to a social gathering or meeting people where people know that you are doing something which is considered to be unethical? That's a simple question which we need to ask every time whenever we are faced with these dilemmas. Our ICI motto itself, which has been given from the Upanishads by Sri Aurobindo, very clearly states what our ethics should be. And the red part, which is Ya Esu Supteshu Jagarti, that person who is awake when those that are asleep. So when others are asleep, we have to be awake. That is the goal, that is the ultimate motto of CAs, and we need to practice this to ensure that we are following our ethics to the right spirit. So you may feel that why only CAs are subjected to such a rigorous code of ethics. Those who have read the code of ethics will realize that it's a very rigorous, very onerous, very demanding code of ethics. I would say that this ethics serves as a protection to ensure the credibility on which our the foundation of which is our profession. So our profession is based on the fact that people can rely on us. We give assurances of different degrees and different levels, and these assurances basically when you sign off a balance sheet, you say that this balance sheet is true and fair, and you and the reader need not investigate, and the reader can trust your sign. So when you have these kind of expectations from society burdened on you, you definitely need some kind of rules and some kind of playbook to go by. So rather than being a burden, we should look at it as a shield which protects our credibility as a profession as large. Ethics as such are as old as the human civilization. That is, from day one of human existence, we have always followed some kind of ethics. The Taittiriya Upanishad speaks of three essential characteristics. It says Satyam Vad, speak the truth, Dharmam chara, follow the rules of dharma. Dharma in this context could mean perform duty rather than any religious connotations. And the last one is swadhyayana ma pramadaha. Do not commit default in self study. So these three, if you look at these three tenets from the Upanishad, you will realize that these are sprinkled all over our code of ethics. Speak the truth. Of course, as a CA, we always need to be on the right side, on the truthful side, on the correct side. We have to follow the rules of dharma. We should know what is our dharma. So our dharma is to be a person on whom others can rely on. We are those on whom various users of financial statements of audit reports rely on. So we should keep our performance in our professional duties at such a high level that we are following our dharma and people can rely on us. And of course, we need to constantly evolve, constantly engage in self study. This is what is the continuous professional education or the CPE programs which CAs need to mandatorily do once they are in practice. So this is basically the continuous updation of knowledge, so that we are always abreast with the latest issues in our respective fields. So how to avoid failing the ethical standards? Some tips which can be shared here. First of all, too much of good faith. Very often we see that it happens to all of us that we kind of reduce our checking or reduce our due diligence on the basis of good faith, that assuming that the client or the taxpayer has done his job in a fair manner. There needs to be some level of good faith, but this finding this right level of good faith itself is a challenge, because if you rely too much on someone blindly, you may end up doing something which is completely wrong, completely which is opposite of what you should have been done. So some level of due diligence, some level of skepticism is required for a professional like a CA. Weak documentation, another common issue, especially in the digital era. In the era where we are going paperless, we know that paper documents speak much better than digital documents, and people are moving away from paper documents. So we need to ensure that our digital documentation also is robust enough to show that the work is done. So there are two important maxims here which you can remember. Work should not only be done, but should also seen that it is done. So this is very important, in the sense that you are doing some kind of checking, vouching, some kind of analysis. This may all go on in your mind, but at some place you need to document it, you need to write it down, that yes, I have checked so and so vouchers, so and so ledgers, so and so books of accounts, so and so bills, I have analyzed so and so documents. Only then I have reached my conclusion that so and so accounts are presenting a true and fair view. If you do not document this, you will find it difficult to prove to anyone that this work has actually been done. So please do that. And the faintest of ink is stronger than the strongest of memories. I think this is very important. I cannot stress on this enough, because as you evolve, as you handle more and more work, you will realize that your memories will start fading away. You will start mixing up cases, you will start mixing up clients facts. And in this scenario, the only way to protect you is to write it down, to document it, so that you can come back and refer to it whenever you require. Another common issue which we see that is that we look at the tax considerations more than the basic principles of accounting and auditing. So very often we are um, caught up with this. Again, this is a dilemma which we face, that do I present a particular transaction in a manner to reduce the tax complications, tax obligations, tax liability, or do I present it in the right manner as per the accounting and auditing principles? So this is where another issue of ethical failings comes up, that we sometimes end up uh, looking at just the tax obligation. We will think that, let us try to structure this deal or structure this transaction in a way that we avoid paying GST, for example. Whereas a layman or a lay accountant or lay person who doesn't understand much of tax would say that you have done it completely wrong. It should have been accounted in a different manner, and that accounting would have then given rise to some other tax implications. The last important point here is that lack of communication skills, inability to say no. This is very important, I feel. Um, there will always be some assignments which will come to you which you are not comfortable taking up for various reasons. Either you're not comfortable with that client, or his accounting setup, or his promoter, or his group of promoters, or the assignment itself is something which is very new to you, and it's a very complex assignment which you don't have much knowledge about. But for various reasons we end up taking such assignments, and then we are unable to do justice to it although we want to do. So at this stage, either we should say no, that please excuse me, I am not specializing in this kind of work, so I will not be able to help you. Or the other option is, you take up the work, but please join hands with some other professional who has enough knowledge in this field, so that you do not end up doing something completely wrong or completely uh, inappropriate in that assignment. So now we'll just go to the code of ethics, some of the important professional misconducts. First one is, if a member in practice allows any person to practice in his name except his partner and employee who is also a CA. So basically, if you allow someone else to sign off on your name, which is practically impossible, no one would do that. But still, this is a very basic violation of the code of ethics. Second is, if you pay any share, commission, brokerage to any person other than a CA or his partner or retired partner. So, if you start some kind of scheme that if some tax consultant who is not a CA brings you some clients, you will part with some of your fees, etc. These are completely unethical means of doing things. Accepts profits from a person who is not a member of the institute. So again, the reverse kind of a thing, that if you get into an arrangement with somebody that if you do some kind of help for him, he will share some profits with you, etc. This is completely against the ethics of practice. If you enter into a partnership with a person who is not a member, this I think is due to be amended. Now they are proposing to allow you to be partners with other professionals like company secretaries and lawyers. I think it is in the pipeline, but as of now, you are not allowed to be partners with non-CAs. If you secure work from a person who is not his employee or partner, so again, if you secure work through third parties who are not connected to your work, it's a problem. If you solicit work by advertisement, personal interview, by any other means, so except to the extent allowed, of course. So soliciting work, that is advertising for your work, is strictly banned for CAs in practice. You cannot say that I am tax. That's why you'll never see an ad in a paper say from a CA saying that please give me this work. I'm looking for this kind of work, etc. Not allowed completely, because the institute expects that clients or taxpayers will come to you not because of your flashy advertisement, but because they believe that you are a good professional, you have got good knowledge, you have got good skills, and that's why they need to come to you rather than your advertising and marketing skills. If you accept work without first communicating with the previous auditor, so this in writing, so this is very essential. You need to communicate the earlier auditor, talk to him, find out what has happened, why is he giving up the assignment, whether the client has been equitable to and fair to the earlier CA, and only then you should opt for taking such kind of assignments. Next, if you accept audit work without ascertaining the requirements of the Companies Act, basically, if the Companies Act lays down certain criteria before which you cannot accept companies audits, so if you do not look at these criteria and then you still take the assignment when you are actually not eligible to take the audit assignment, then of course it will be a violation. Accepts assignments where fees are on a percentage or of profits or are contingent upon findings or result. So let me give you an example. What if I take an assignment of valuation of a company and the client says that I will give you 1% of the value which you give me, give to the taxpayer or some percentage. Naturally, I will be inclined to give him a higher valuation because my fees are relevant on that valuation. So giving this kind of assignment is completely against the ethics of ICAI. Engaging in any other business or occupation also is prohibited except in a few exceptional situations, like if you have some family business, etc. Then with the permission of the ICAI you can get into this kind of arrangement. And of course, this allows a person who is not a partner or any other person of the member to sign on his behalf. So if you let someone else sign on your behalf, accounts, etc., it's a professional misconduct. We now move to members in service. Members in service can be held of guilty of misconduct if they undertake to share emoluments of their employment. So I'm a member in service basically is someone who is working in a company as a salaried employee, and he decides for some reason that he will share his salary with some other third person who is not at all connected with the work. So that will be a professional misconduct. again accepts any fees or profits or gains from any professional like CA, lawyer, or any broker or any customer as a commission or gratification. So of course this hints at some kind of kickbacks. For example, if you are in a position to tell someone that you will accept the tender provided that that person give you something in kind or in cash or another table, etc., this is obviously not only is it a crime but it is also a professional misconduct. Members at large, whether practice or not, professional misconduct would construe if a person who is not a fellow acts as a fellow. So, as a fellow member, that is, if you have 5 years of practice experience, only then you are called a fellow. But if you are practicing as a fellow, that is, without the 5 years experience, you are calling yourself as a fellow CA, then this will be a professional misconduct. If you do not supply information called for by the institute, council, or any of the committees, then again it will be a professional misconduct. If you give false information while inviting professional work or responding to tender inquiries, etc. So, if you give any kind of misrepresentation to any prospective client that just to secure work, obviously it will be a professional misconduct. Other misconduct is, of course, being held guilty of civil or criminal imprisonment. And if you bring disrepute to the profession, this is a very wide and vague term. So, if you do any kind of action in your personal life also, and if you bring about disrepute to the profession, this could be invoked against you. So, we have to have high levels of behavior to ensure that the profession as large does not suffer because of our actions. The second schedule also deals with some more professional misconducts. It talks that if you disclose information of any client to any other person other than his client, so if you disclose any information of your client to third parties, of course it is a professional misconduct. You have to abide by the confidentiality arrangement between you and your client. You certify financial statements without looking at them or without any other CA or any other professional or your employee or a partner having checked them. So you just, if someone brings up to you some, if your friend comes up and he gives you some financial statements and you sign them off without looking at them, then of course it will be a professional misconduct. So here this is something which I would say has some larger impact also. Many times we have friends who become our clients, or we have clients who become our friends eventually. So in these situations we may find it difficult to put across some tough but correct points to these people. You may start mixing your personal and professional relationship, and this is where you will typically end up conducting some kind of professional misconduct, because you will probably give turn a blind eye to certain legal issues, or you may be ignoring some of the mistakes he has made just because he's a friend or he's a known person to you. So this kind of conflict has to be avoided at any cost. And the ideal way of this is you should learn how to communicate with your clients who are friends or friends who are clients, how you need to segregate your personal and professional life and communicate to them that please see that these things are not in order, and without these things in order, irrespective of how close we are, I am not able to give you a clean report or a clean certificate. If you give an impression that you are vouching for the accuracy of a forecast, so as CAs we are allowed to forecast, but we are at no point of time allowed to certify or authenticate a forecast. That is, if you do projections for a business, if you give a projected profit and loss account, balance sheet, etc., you cannot certify it to be true and correct or true and fair, because obviously no one can certify a forecast. It's something in the future. If you express an opinion on statements in which you or your partner has substantial interest, so of course some kind of conflict of interest is there because of a related party being involved, and of course it is a professional misconduct. If you fail to disclose a material fact which was required but has not been disclosed, so very important is, if you find some material fact or some important item which you feel that should be disclosed in the financial statement, for the reader to know exactly what is happening in that company, then please do so. You may disclose it in the form of notes, notes to accounts, or notes to audit report, etc. But if you do not, then it will be a professional misconduct. Again, fails to report a material misstatement. So if you know something is very wrong, and if you have not done it, not pointed it out, then of course it will be a professional misconduct. So here documentation will come to your rescue, that because it is practically impossible for any professional, any CA, to find out each and every gap or each and every issue in a financial statement. So we need to have adequate documentation to prove that at least we did our part, we did our due diligence, we tried to find. But as things stand, because of some reason we could not find it. So you cannot be blamed for not putting effort. You can only be blamed for uh, not getting it. And as a CA, you're not supposed to be a bloodhound as such for to sniff out frauds. You are more of a watchdog. So in that context, documentation can rescue you. Again, does not exercise due diligence or is grossly negligent, kind of similar to some of the points we have discussed already. Fails to obtain sufficient information. So here we often, again, this comes back to that mercy and justice kind of a scenario. You take, or that blind trust or good faith kind of scenario. We, in good faith, or just because we don't want to uh, burden the client too much, we ask for inadequate information and still we go ahead with the assignment. This by itself is a big problem, and we need to ensure that we get all the documents which we require to get a sufficient degree of assurance before we sign off on documents. Fails to invite attention to any material departure from generally accepted practice procedures. So this becomes very relevant in the context of our current COVID-19 pandemic. In due to this COVID-19 pandemic, lot of regular audit procedures, a lot of regular audit tools will not be able to be used by us. In our audit reports, have we mentioned that there is a major departure, major shift in my auditing practice? For example, I have not been able to do the physical verification of closing stock or cash and bank balances on 31st March. This is a major departure. So can we, have we mentioned it in our audit report or in our notes to accounts that yes, because of exigencies, we could not satisfy a regular standard practice of certifying this kind of a thing. Next, fails to keep monies of client other than money is meant to be expended in a separate banking account. So you need, if you are having holding some money of your client on escrow basis, etc., ideally you should hold them in a separate bank account that they are not mixed with your funds. I will elaborate on one point of communication with the previous auditor. It is covered in clause 8 of part 1. We need to communicate before accepting the audit and not merely before signing. So please note that if a new client comes to you, you need to first ask him, boss, do you have an auditor existing for this? Why is he not continuing with the assignment? Please give me his communication details. I will communicate to him and only then I will accept your audit. So you have to first communicate before even accepting the audit and not just signing off the report. So it is advised that you should go for registered post AD, that is where you get acknowledgement of delivery, so that you create a foolproof evidence that yes, I tried to communicate with this person, but if he has not responded, and it is not my lookout. If there is no reply from the auditor, audit can be accepted after a reasonable period. So you need to give enough reasonable time for a outgoing auditor to reply. Actual NOC is not a precondition, but as a professional courtesy and as a general practice, we normally insist on a NOC from the earlier CA, so that we are on equitable and amicable terms, so that there is no objection from the earlier CA if you take up his assignment. Where the undisputed audit fee of outgoing auditor is outstanding, accepting the assignment itself is a misconduct. So very important here, if your client has not paid the undisputed audit fee of the earlier auditor, you can't even accept the assignment. It's a major misconduct. So you need to check that your client or your proposed client or your future client has paid off, satisfied the financial bills, etc., of the earlier auditor. before you take up the assignment. This applies to all kinds of audits: company audits, tax audits, internal audits, LLP audits, concurrent audits, GST audits, and audit of government entities. So there is no leeway given as far as the nature of audits are concerned. This communication with the early auditor applies for all kinds of audits. And the previous auditor would mean the immediately preceding auditor. Even if, for example, if there was no audit in financial year 1920 and for 2021 you are being appointed as auditor now, you need to then communicate with the last auditor who was handling that matter. So you need to go back to the auditor of at least FY 18-19 and then talk to him and then go ahead with the assignment. In closing, I would just like to highlight the importance of a sign. This is a very important statement made by a very important person. Just like doctors don't want people to get ill to get more business, chartered accountants too need to safeguard society's economic health. Your signature, that is the CA's signature, is more powerful than the prime minister's, and the government also believes the account signed by you. This statement was made by none other than our current Prime Minister, Shri Modi. He said this at the launch of GST on 1st July 17, and this actually has paramount importance if you look at it. If you see how things are going on, how much power we have been given to sign off, that when we sign off on a document, banks do not question it, a large number of tax authorities rely on it, investors rely on it, so many users of the document rely on our sign. That same reliance cannot be given by a minister in the government or any officer of the bureaucracy of the government, etc. But a CA can do it. So we need to realize that our sign is very important. People are trusting us, relying us, and the day that they feel that our sign does not carry that weight, that value, the trust erodes. That will be the death knell for our profession. So in order to ensure that our profession thrives and survives through these tumultuous times, we need to attach a lot of significance and a lot of importance to signing off documents. Every time you sign off a document, please ensure that you have seen that that assignment has passed rigorous tests of due diligence, ethics, documentation, conflict of interest, and you have addressed all dilemmas which we have discussed today, and only then take up such kind of assignments. Otherwise, as we have discussed, that it could be an individual error, but such many of such individual errors may end up sinking the entire ship, and we would not like in any cost to do any kind of activity which would hurt our profession. So with that, I would like to close today's session. I thank all of you for a patient listening. Thank you, everyone.